Well, looks like we're down to 15-minute episodes only on Nearest Radio, but then let's kick that music. Here we go. This is Infinite Pizza.
Wow, Pizza Bot, you wrote that all by yourself, didn't you?
Whole song.
この曲はインターネットの力を借りて孤独に日本で作りました。そしてその作業のために何人かのビッグメンバーが生贄になりました。
Well, like, what do we have? Like 2-3 minutes left on the album? Fuck it, put it on the album.
Yeah, let's do it.
Tight.
Sounds good.
嬉しく思います。
Welcome to the Acceleration of Knowledge, the Jumping Jesus Phenomenon, with Robert Anton Wilson. In this new lecture, Dr. Wilson presents his observations on the exponential doubling of knowledge since the time of Christ, or what he calls the Jumping Jesus Phenomenon. Join with our audience as Robert Anton Wilson explores the impact of this huge jump in knowledge as it disseminates from the east to the west, and eventually to the galaxies themselves. The career of Robert Anton Wilson is long and diverse. After receiving his degree in electrical engineering from Brooklyn Polytechnical, he received his PhD in psychology at Hawthorne College. Robert Anton Wilson is known best for his many books, which include the award-winning Illuminatus trilogy, Prometheus Rising, The Universe Next Door, and 20 other titles. He presently lives and works out of the Los Angeles area, writing screenplays and occasionally working as a stand-up comic. And now, Sounds True presents The Acceleration of Knowledge, the Jumping Jesus Phenomenon, with Robert Anton Wilson.
There's an old Jewish story about a man who liked to play the violin. He had this habit, though. He kept playing the same note over and over. It amused him. Perhaps it gave him a deep ecstasy. But that was his shtick. He kept playing the same note over and over. His wife, like most wives, was tolerant. This is known as a reality check. I want to see if they gave me water again or something more interesting. Well, if I can get through that bottle tonight, I'll be doing fine. He played the same note over and over again. After several years, his wife finally got to the point where even her wifely patience was exhausted. And she said to him, "Max," she said, "Max, Max, for God's sake, Max. Other men who play the violin, they don't always play the same part of the string. They play up and down the string, and they play on all the strings. They make melodies, and they make counterpoint, they make sonatas, they make forms, not the same note over and over." And Max looked up from playing his one note, and he said, "They're looking for the place. I found it." I thought of Max last night in Boulder. Last night I had the wonderful compliment of having people marching around the church where I was speaking, protesting against me. It's a wonderful feeling to think you're important enough that people will protest against you. I took the leaflet they were giving out, and they claimed I was a servant of Satan. And that's a high compliment, too. I mean, that gives you a certain glamorous aura. Don't you feel you're getting your money's worth if you think that maybe you got an agent of the devil came here just to deceive you? I haven't felt so good since Mae Brussel. Any of you heard of Mae Brussel, or is she strictly a California? Somebody's heard of Mae Brussel. She's the world's leading authority on conspiracies. And she wrote in Conspiracy Digest that I was an agent of the Rockefeller conspiracy.
Oh, no.
Did you see that? What? With the fucking teeth on the tits. Oh, God. This sucked. Why do we come here? I'm so scared.
We don't grow up, we just grow crowded. We don't get smart, we just get scared. We learn but not the right things. We're barely even listening. We don't have dreams, we just haven't been. We're underwhelmed and unprepared. Just tell us all the right things. We swear we'll start believing. Struck down at the feet and wrists, mission we inherited. Untrained, rusted, ugly things. Is this real life or just a phase? How do you tell when it's over? How do you tell when it's over?
And what's some of your favourite burnt books or heretic material?
Some of my favorite burnt books?
Books that have been burnt in the past, or books that have been banned?
Well, the first one I think of is The Mass Psychology of Fascism by Wilhelm Reich, which was burned by the United States government in 1957. Had been burned by the Soviet Union earlier, and by Nazi Germany even earlier than that.
The Fox Without a Tail by Aesop. It happened that a fox caught its tail in a trap, and in struggling to release himself, lost all of it but the stump. At first he was ashamed to show himself among his fellow foxes, But at last he determined to put a bolder face upon his misfortune, and summoned all the foxes to a general meeting to consider a proposal which he had to place before them. When they had assembled together, the fox proposed that they should all do away with their tails. He pointed out how inconvenient a tail was when they were pursued by their enemies, the dogs, how much it was in the way when they desired to sit down and hold a friendly conversation with one another. He failed to see any advantage in carrying about such a useless encumbrance. "That is all very well," said one of the older foxes, "but I do not think you would have recommended us to dispense with our chief ornament if you had not happened to lose it yourself." Distrust interested advice. Read by Lorraine Montgomery for Lit to Go, on the web at fcit.usf.edu.
All right, so how do you guys feel about the internet and the way it changed music industry?
Up and down, like good things, bad things. I like the availability to be able to listen to whatever I want and like find so many new things, but also there's so much of it that it's like overwhelming.
Definitely. Initially it made booking tours and stuff like that a lot easier, but now I think it's almost just as hard because there's so many shows and people get shows so easily. There's too much saturation. You don't really have to try hard. So there's a lot more bullshit out there, so you got to really kind of sift through it.
Yeah, I agree to that. I think that the biggest thing is that nowadays, for me, what I've noticed is nowadays you have to be good at marketing yourself as opposed to back in the day, like, you know, it was more like word of mouth, right?
Yeah, there aren't really the sorts of networks, like people networks that there used to be. I think everyone assumed that was going to move online, and instead it just kind of got super fractured once it moved online. And it's made a lot of the things like booking and you know, you can't just plug into the scene in another town because there isn't one scene if there is anything at all going on. It's way harder, weirdly, to find all the like-minded people, it seems like, with the internet happening. People are still, I hope people are still trying to figure out how to navigate that, how to, you know, do the Timothy Leary thing of finding the others, so to speak.
Floating on the breeze from a distant shore, the scent of free-for-life leaves me wanting more. I remember the moon over starry skies. I'll be going back soon to that little white isle. Won't be long, I'll be singing my song. Where I belong, I'll be coming on strong. Won't be long, I'll be singing my song. Won't be long, I'll be singing my song. Where I belong, I'll be coming on strong. Won't be long, I'll be singing my song. I've gotta find a way. Gotta make some time. Starfish and dolphins swim through my mind. When life's complicated, when the sun don't shine, I find my heart aching for that little white isle. Won't be